School board meeting for Independent School District 624. Could I ask the clerk to please read the roll?
Thompson. Orhan.
Here.
Lloyd.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Ellison here. Mullins.
Here.
Newmaster. Here.
All right, thank you all very much. If you could all please stand, remove your hats, and join us in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep, mine's on. You can't hear me?
No.
It's on.
Hear me right?
Say again.
Can you hear me right?
Sorry, everyone, just a little bit of technical difficulty. How about now? Okay. Now we're good? All right. Thank you all very much. Before we get into our agenda and any of those items, Dr. Kazmierczak would like to introduce our student liaisons, our student representatives. Dr. Kazmierczak.
All right, thank you, Chairman Mullen, members of the board. We're pleased to welcome our student representatives for the 21-22 school year. First, we have Lauren Collier. Welcome. You don't have to stand if you don't want. Lauren is an 11th grade student at South Campus. She will serve as the alternate student representative for the 21-22 school year. Lauren serves as the secretary of the National Honor Society and is a member of the Student Council, the Link Crew, Chamber Orchestra, and White Bear Lake Gymnastics. She is involved in the Homecoming Committee, Water Warriors United, and House Group, which is a church group. So welcome, Lauren. And then Bemnet Tessima, to my left. She's our 12th grade representative. Last year she served in the role that Lauren is in now. She's a 12th grade student at South Campus. She will be our student representative for the 21-22 school year. Bemnet serves as the president of the National Honor Society and a captain of the Anchor Mentor Program. She's a member of the Link Crew and is involved in a girls' church group as well. So welcome to the both of you. We look forward to having you on the board for the next school year. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to both of you. We have before us an agenda that has been printed. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
There's been a motion by Ms. Thompson. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Dr. Newmaster. Is there all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved. We also have before us a consent agenda, and a consent agenda is our sundry items that come before us on month-to-month, our minutes, field trip request, some HR stuff, but the one thing that we are very grateful for is the generous gifts given to the school district from the community. And this month is no different. There's a wide range of gifts, and we're very appreciative of that. So with that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
There's been a motion by Ms. Ellison. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Beloit. Any discussion regarding the consent agenda? Hearing or seeing none, this will require a roll call vote.
Newmaster. Aye. Thompson. Aye. Arcan.
Aye.
Beloit. Aye. Chapman.
Aye.
Ellison. Aye. Mullen.
Aye. And we have a consent agenda. It is now time in our meeting for our public forum. Like all months, we have a public forum, and we ask that you submit your request to speak by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. This month, we've got 3 people that would like to address the board. The way that we typically do it is that each person wanting to speak will have 3 minutes. I will ask Vice Chair Chapman to take the reign of being the timekeeper. He has 3 cards in front of him. The first card is an orange card that will indicate that when you have 1 minute left. The yellow card will indicate that you have 30 seconds left, and the red card is a stop. I would at that time will then tap the gavel 1 time to make sure that you're aware that it's time to stop, and would ask you to please stop where you're at and then move so that we can get the next person up.
Thank you, Chair Mullen, members of the board. Tonight, we celebrate White Bear Lake Area Schools students for state and national level honors. Our video tonight highlights students who represented the district in the state trap shooting competition and those who were honored as advanced placement scholars and as National Merit Scholars. Go Bears, and roll the video.
Thank you, Dr. Kazmierczak. I got a quick question about the student recognition. Do we know about how many other schools have trap teams, trap shooting teams?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Okay.
We can certainly find out. Yeah.
I'd appreciate it.
I know it's a very fast-growing program in Minnesota, and I suspect in other states as well. So pretty impressive accomplishment.
Yes, thank you very much. It is now time for our next informational item, C2, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Kazmierczak.
All right, thank you, Chair Mullen, members of the board. So the dashboard and information page regarding COVID-19. So our most current information about our mitigation strategies along with COVID-19 dashboard information is available directly at www.isd624.org/COVID-19. We recently secured 4,000 rapid at-home COVID-19 antigen tests from the state and are distributing them to the elementary schools to send home with every student who is symptomatic. We have ordered these tests for our secondary students also, but they are still on order as the state made sure all elementary schools were served first. We are also discussing options for pop-up testing events. Principals will provide updates to their families as information is available. And with no school days approaching next week, we wanted to provide resources to families who are considering traveling during the break. It is important to watch for COVID-19 symptoms at all times, but it is especially important after traveling. Please see information regarding travel from MDH and the CDC in the resources section of the district's COVID-19 website page. And although free meals are available to all students through the 21-22 school year, it is important to note that families may qualify for additional benefits if they complete an application for educational benefits online or in paper form. Applications can be found on the district website. This year's fall musical, Into the Woods, will be performed at 7 p.m. on November 12th and 13th and November 18th, 19th, and 20th. A matinee performance will also take place at 2 p.m. on November 13th. The matinee will have an American Sign Language interpreter and will be free for senior citizens who should reserve tickets through the regular ticket process that will be opening soon. The White Bear Lake Area High School Student Council is hosting its annual food drive in support of the White Bear Lake Area Emergency Food Shelf. Those who are interested in doing so can donate items such as non-perishables, baking goods, and hygiene items to either North Campus or South Campus next week, October 25th through the 29th. Monetary donations are also being accepted. In honor of today's Indigenous Peoples Day holiday, the White Bear Lake Area Schools American Indian Education Program will play host to a drum and dance event from 6 to 8 p.m. this Thursday, October 14th. The event will take place in the back of the building at Otter Lake Elementary. All are welcome to join and experience the drumming and teaching of Little Earth Singers and Jingle Dress. Find a flyer for the event on the district's website. The following celebrations have been already or will soon be recognized in October: National Principals Month, National Custodial Worker Day, Homecoming Week, World Teachers Day, National School Lunch Week, Indigenous Peoples Day, the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, National Bosses Day, National Safe Schools Week, and National School Bus Safety Week. The district is hiring for a variety of positions, offering both school day and out-of-school time hours. Full and part-time options are available. Check out the employment page of our district website and find ways you can join us as a bear. Additional information can be found at the district website, www.isd624.org. All right, and I'm going to turn it over to BEMNET for our first student liaison update of the school year.
After coming off of a homecoming week with fun themes, Powder Puff, a parade, and a Bears win, 34-14, and a beautiful homecoming dance, we enter this week with a home volleyball game on Tuesday at 7 p.m. versus Stillwater, boys soccer sections this Wednesday at 7 at Woodbury, and girls section at home versus Tartan, and football this week at 7 at Totino Grace. Come support our Bears.
All right, thank you, Ben. And that's our report this evening.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the superintendent or BEMNET for the student liaison report? All right, hearing and seeing none, we'll move into our first discussion item, D1, the 2020-21 World's Best Workforce Summary and Achievement and Integration Progress Report. Dr. Gillespie.
Good evening, Chair Mullen, members of the board, Dr. Kazmarchuk, and student liaison BEMNET. Tonight I'm going to provide an overview of what was presented to you at the World Work Study Session, our last work study session. We also brought our information to our Systems Accountability Committee. I am representing Dr. Melinda Fierro tonight, our Research Evaluation and Assessment Coordinator, and Dr. Marcellus Davis, the Director of Equity and Engagement, who joined me at the work study presentation. Each year we present to you an update on the World's Best Workforce and Achievement Integration Goals summary report. As a reminder, our World's Best Workforce goal areas are: all children are ready for school, all third graders can read at grade level, all racial and economic achievement gaps between students are closed, all students are ready for career in college, and all students graduate from high school. As you remember, this is found in Minnesota statute and something that each school district needs to report goals on each year and their progress towards these. Additionally, we qualify for achievement and integration because we have a racially identifiable elementary school, Willow Lane Elementary, and we also have a adjoining district. And so achievement and integration, we combine that report with World's Best Workforce, and we must report on goals that we have that will pursue racial and economic integration, increase student achievement, create equitable educational opportunities, and reduce academic disparities based on students' diverse racial, ethnic, and economic backgrounds in Minnesota public schools. And so tonight, I've bundled our goals around themes to talk about our progress and then also our upcoming goals. If you remember, I presented to you at the end of last school year around our work and really looking at our continuous learning measurements and talking more publicly about data so that we make sure our public and parents understand where we are as a district, and also getting better internally around data. So we've presented a couple different times around this. We're doing a lot of work internally, and our goal is to make sure that people feel really comfortable about accessing data and using it, because we need to make sure that we are getting better in all areas for each one of our students. The first place is school readiness, and so the first goal is 75% of four-year-old preschool students enrolled in a White Bear Lake Area Schools program will demonstrate kindergarten readiness by being able to accurately verbally count to 20 and will be able to recognize at least 10 upper and lowercase letters, especially those in their own names, by the end of 2021 school year. We met that goal with 75.1% of students being able to count to 20, and then 85.2% of students being able to name at least 10 upper and lowercase letters. We are switching our goal to better align with our kindergarten readiness measures that we use, and so our goal this year is that 75% of our students entering kindergarten who've attended a White Bear Lake area preschool will demonstrate readiness for school by earning a FastBridge early reading composite score of 25 or higher by the fall of 2023. You'll notice that all of the rest of our goals are multi-year goals, so there's no difference in the goals. We're working towards progress for multiple years. As we look at literacy, this is a major focus of ours as we look at increasing scores across our system. Our goal for all third graders being able to read at third grade is that we will move from 62.6%, which was our 2019 score, to 68.1%, which was the goal that we had prior to the pandemic and was set by our World's Best Workforce Committee. Our MCA scores came back at 54.3% and was accompanied by a 14.3% drop in participation, which is what many area districts experienced. The MCA is one measure that we use around literacy, and so we really need to, one, look at this and find out what happened and that we take this measurement seriously, but also make sure that our multiple measures that we have internally are really showing what our students know and are able to do in relation to those skills. One of the major things that we're doing to address this is investing heavily in letters training, which you may have heard talked about around the science of reading, and really making sure our teachers feel equipped with the skills to teach the science of reading. That's something that's not taught as much as we wish yet in teacher preparation, so we're really excited about the opportunity and the resources that we've put towards literacy. Cynthia Mueller presented a couple board meetings ago around that. We also have to have separate goals for our racially identifiable school per our achievement and integration plan. And so when I worked with the principal at the time of Willow Lane Elementary, the goal was 100% of students being at or above grade level as measured by their multiple measures that they have at the time. As of last year, one of the areas was 46% of students were on track to read at grade level. And so we are working very closely with Matt Manier, the principal there, and really making sure, again, that teachers have quick access to that data and know where students are, looking at our multi-tiered systems of support for not only Willow Lane, but each one of our schools. Our college and career readiness measures is something that we're focusing on as a whole system, and we will have multiple measures for. In the past, we've talked about enrollment in our college credit-bearing classes and or AP classes, which in here we have worded a little bit uniquely with talking about potentially credit earning, because students do have to take that exam and earn a 3 or higher, and then it's dependent on the college that they go to, but accepting those credits. And so if we look at the class of 9 through 12 percentage, we look at students in each one of our racial ethnic groups. So we have 50.3% of our Asian students, 28.4% of Black or African American students, 30.9% of Hispanic students, 36.6% of multiracial students, 25.0% of our Native American students, and 44.6% of our white students. And so we continue to look at making sure that with white students being the majority population in terms of our racial representation, that at least each one of our groups would match that percentage. Additionally, we look at, and we've talked about for multiple years, there's research suggesting that when students earn 12 college credits by the time they graduate, their skills and preparation in college and what they're able to do in college is exponentially increased in their success their freshman year. And so we gathered data around the seniors who graduated last year, and 31% of students who graduated, of our 713 students who graduated, completed at least 4 courses, which for us, in our system, is 3 credits per course for the most part, but given the colleges that we partner with, that can mean a little bit more than 12 credits or a little bit under, given the courses. And so that's why the number of students who've completed at least 12 credits is 25%. And so our goal is to increase those from 31 to 25 and we'll increase from, this is worded weird, 31 to 40 and 25 to 31.
35.
Again, we're going to revisit this goal, these multiple measures with you after we do some internal work and more work with our systems accountability. We also, as an achievement and integration goal, have a further goal around Black students who are taking those concurrent enrollment courses and looking at grades that they're receiving and making sure that students are receiving at least a C or higher. Our goal is beginning at 76% and increasing to 100%. And in the 2021 school year, 85% of Black or African American students who are taking concurrent enrollment courses earned a C or higher. And then our graduation rates. Our goal is to increase from 91.2% to 96%, and graduation rate is calculated 1 year behind. So the graduation rate for the class of 2020 was 90.1%. I think it's really important to point out that when our graduation rate is reported, we report it as a district. We're really proud of the multiple opportunities we provide for students to graduate from our Alternative Learning Center, from our Transition Education Center. But often we get compared with other districts who don't have those opportunities and or have opportunities outside their district. And so if you look solely at White Bear Lake Area High School, the graduation rate is higher, and then if you were to look at our ALC, it's lower, but that is often why students are referred, is because they haven't been able to pass classes for various reasons. And then again, we have a corresponding goal for achievement and integration that focuses on the graduation of our Hispanic or Latino students, increasing from 80% to 96%. And the 2020 four-year graduation rate for Hispanic or Latino students was 76.19%. One of the major interventions that we're doing around this is the implementation of our BAR program, Building Assets, Reducing Risks. We've talked to you a couple times about that, and we'll update again. There's a lot of research around the impact of 9th grade and the success students have there. This would be our 2nd year at North Campus having that, and I'm really excited to see the success and the impact that has on our graduation rate as we support students in high school. And then there's a final requirement for achievement and integration that was added to the latest achievement and integration plan, and that was that we needed to have a goal around students having increased access to effective and diverse teachers. And we absolutely have a goal to continue to make sure that our workforce, our educator force, and all the people that work in our system represent the multiple different races that we serve in terms of our student population. So working with the Minnesota Department of Education, we established a goal that students would also have access to culturally responsive teachers by the 22-23 school year, because our achievement and integration plan is a multi-year plan. We're still working on collecting data and what that looks like, and that was significantly interrupted due to last year's multiple things going on. The same exact goal exists for our racially identifiable school, Willow Lane, and again, we will continue to work on that goal this year. And then finally, Willow Lane has a requirement to have an integrated learning experience, and historically they've worked with Otter Lake and utilized Tamarack Nature Center, and so our goal was to increase school partnerships and to have different learning experiences. But again, we didn't have field trips last year and things were interrupted, so we look forward to working together with our principals on these learning experiences this year.
Thank you, Dr. Gillespie. Is there questions, comments regarding the world's best workforce? Ms. Boyd?
Yeah, the BAR program, the Building Assets Reducing Risks, I know we rolled it out last year for the ninth grade. Can you remind me where else we rolled it out this year?
Yep, it's at both middle schools. And each middle school has rolled it out a little bit differently, so I would have to get back to you exactly how they've rolled it out. It's a 3-year implementation, and so middle school, they work very much with each principal on how they implement it in their building. And then we have 2 elementary schools that also will have 3 years to implement it, and that's Vadnais Heights and Lake Ayres.
And then we're also doing the high school as well. So the middle schools, was that through the grant?
The middle schools was not through a grant, the elementary schools were
Elementary,
through
okay.
a grant, yep.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Arcan?
Yeah, I'd be real curious if we've seen any change in our students needing to take remediation courses at college for no credit. Are we seeing that decline? And then we can pull it from SLEDs from Minnesota State.
Yeah, I can look at it. That data is a couple years delayed, so I don't look at it as often, but I will look at it for you, for sure.
I think that was the trend we were seeing a couple of years back, but, so hopefully that's been continuing, yeah.
Yeah, because that's significant, because anytime a student has to take remediation, it lowers their possibility of finishing because they're not getting any credit, so it's significant that we can get that reduced.
Yeah, we saw that moving in the right direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that used to be one of our world's best workforce goals, and so but we wanted to have data that we could immediately impact as well, so.
Thank you. Ms. Ellison?
I have a question about how the opt-out of the MCA scores impacts overall. I mean, is it something where if we've got a 14.3% drop in participation, first of all, is that number really high? And second, does that negatively impact our scores, or does it just zero out?
No, yeah, it's really large for us because we've had a really high participation rate, some grades as high as 99%, so that's significant. And it would negatively impact us in terms of, Melinda would have to talk exactly to you what the scores, how they even out, but when and if the state was doing some of their measurements for us, participation rate is something that we're measured on in terms of a district and meeting those compliance. And it's a balance because, we had a higher opt-out rate last year, perhaps because we were in, had many different impacts of the pandemic on us, but there are, the Systems Accountability Committee brought up to me that there are parents who are continuing to choose to have their students opt out, and that is an option for families. And so as a district, how do we make sure that we balance that this is something that is a test that we have to take seriously, and making sure that we have multiple measures internally, because really parents care about their kids learning to read, and we need to have the data that we can talk through and make sure that what we're doing is making an impact on that.
It feels like the moral of the story is that this is a really complex number
Yes. it
with
is.
a lot of factors and a lot of moving parts and things that can impact it.
Well, and it's really about district accountability, and it's been made about individual student accountability, and I think that's really hard on people when you're looking at a test score and thinking, what does this mean for my student?
Especially since it's a different group of kids taking the test, and so the percentage is different because it's an entirely different set of kids.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions? Okay, Dr. Gillespie, thank you very much. Appreciate your report. Next, we'll move to our next discussion item, which is D2. And if you're not familiar about how our policy process works, typically the policy committee reviews the policies periodically, and then they bring them, any updated policies back in front of the board for 2 consecutive readings. So this month we have one policy that's coming up for the first reading. This will allow board members to ask questions, get answers, and then we'll come back after we'll make any corrections and then bring it back for a second reading. So this month's first reading is policy 514, the bullying prevention, and I would open it up and ask board members if they have any questions or concerns about the updated policy for the staff. Ms. Boyd?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you to the policy committee for re-reviewing this and bringing it back again. I appreciate the changes.
Are there questions or comments? Okay, this policy will then come back before the board at the next month's meeting to go through the vote process. We'll now move into our first operational item, E1, which is the action on the bids for Birch Lake Elementary addition and expansion. Mr. Wolf.
Good evening, Chair Mullen, members of the board, Dr. Kazmierczak, and Ms. Tessema. At the September 27th board meeting, we reviewed the design plans for the Birch Lake Elementary project, and we have gone out for bids since that time, and the bids were open last week. And so I'm asking the board to approve the bid package of $1,980,727. That came in just slightly under budget. The project, about $67,000 under budget. So it was a tight, I guess our friends at Cross Anderson did a really good job of estimating, and we had good coverage. We had 138 bids for the project on 25 different work scopes. So we're pleased that that came in. Bids have been trending a little higher, projects across the state. So we were a little bit concerned going in, but pleased that it came in under budget.
Hey, Tim, can we confirm the amount? I have a different amount in the board packet, I think.
Maybe I wrote it down wrong. I may have wrote it down in my notes wrong. Is it 191,900?
It's $1,913,701.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, I just read the wrong line. I read the budget, not the $1,913,701. The budget was $1,987,27. Thank you, Dr. Kazmierczak.
Okay.
Okay, you've heard the recommended action. Is there a motion to approve that action?
So moved. Oh, go ahead.
There's been a motion by Dr. Newmaster, and I'll take Ms. Elson as the second.
I think it was Ms. Thompson.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
So the motion is by Ms. Thompson,
Sure.
and the second is by Ms. Elson. Okay, any discussion regarding the bid? There's a lot of construction going on, and so I know we have some additional bids. So with that, this will require a roll call vote.
Newmaster?
Aye.
Thompson?
Aye.
Arcan?
Aye.
Beloit? Aye. Chapman?
Aye.
Ellison? Aye. Mullen?
Aye. And the motion passes. Thank you. We will now move to our next operational item, E2, which is the action on the bids for Lake Ayres Elementary additions and expansion.
Yeah, same thing here. We had 22 work scopes on the Lake Ayres project. We reviewed that September 27th as well. 113 bids on that project, and the bids came in at $1,758,379. And that was more significantly below budget. Budget on that was $2,015,727. So the project came in $257,348 below budget.
Okay. We've seen the recommended action. Is there a motion to approve the bids for the Lake Ayres project?
So moved.
Been a motion by Mr. Chapman and a second by Dr. Newmaster. Any discussion regarding the bids? Ms. Beloit.
Could you maybe just talk a little bit about some of the sustainability goals that we have with all of these projects and some of the things that we're doing along those lines?
Sure. So our facilities department's been working on sustainability efforts for quite a number of years right now, and really utilizing wherever we have rebate possibilities to use that as an incentive and a possibility to make those upgrades affordable. So using sustainable materials and going green, so to speak, is fairly expensive. And so where we can utilize those incentives we have. So think of gyms. We have all LED lighting in our gyms, parking lots, exteriors of buildings. Those have all been converted to LED lights. We've upgraded plumbing in several of our buildings, Willow, Lincoln, our older buildings, District Center here, Central Middle School. We've upgraded plumbing fixtures as a way to say we benchmark our water usage and we can identify where our highest water usages are. And so those were great places to utilize incentives. As we've worked on our project, we've worked with Xcel Energy and Cross Anderson and Wold Architects and Engineers to identify sustainability strategy. So it's largely related to HVAC and lighting. So those are the two areas you can really target to save cash in the best savings. And so we exceed building codes in all of those areas, and so many more, really, to make our buildings as sustainable as possible. They're not a zero net kind of design. That's just not an affordable strategy for us, but we're able to use incentives. I think at our new elementary school alone, we had $93,000 in incentives on because our sustainability goals were what they were. And so when we show evidence that we installed sustainable equipment or equipment that would improve our sustainability, we'll receive those refunds.
Then aren't we also adding solar panels to the garage, the
Yeah.
gym at South, the new
Yeah, great.
elementary?
A great point. So we have 7 sites right now with solar on the roofs. We'll be adding it at the garage. The new high school, actually, when the new high school is complete, it will have one of the largest, if not the largest, rooftop-mounted solar installation in the state of Minnesota. So we're really excited about the amount of solar that we're able to utilize in that building. Again, working with the third party, that makes it possible to get the incentives that are available for solar. So we've been feeling really good about that. And South Campus had a big addition. It has had solar for several years. Big addition to South Campus. We had an addition this year at Lake Ayres and their solar, and Willow's solar has gotten another addition. So, yeah, thanks for asking that. We're really proud of the work we've done around solar installations across the district.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Newmaster.
I'm glad you answered the solar status for now, because I was thinking of that, and I wondered, as it's been installed, one of the incentives, in addition to being, great for energy use, is it's also a learning experience for the kids. Has that information come online so that kids can use it in math and science, and it makes them excited about what they're doing?
Yeah, so Ideal Energies has been a good partner with us on solar curriculum, and just over a year ago, we really put a lot of effort into that, and last year it didn't work out to use it because we were in a distance learning situation when that unit came up in our curriculum, so it made it hard to use it. But this year, the teachers have it in their on their calendars, and they'll be utilizing the solar curriculum. I don't have a lot of details on that. It'd be a good presentation is for us to just do a presentation on sustainability efforts across the district. Happy to do that.
Dr. Newmaster.
And my second question, we're just doing an amazing number of projects at the same time, all over all the schools. And I'm wondering how, when you read about all the shortages in deliveries and the problems in continuing projects, how are we doing so far? Have we been slowed down by anything?
That has been an impact in terms of in terms of getting steel. So we've had some delays in that, and we have a pretty talented team from Kraus Anderson that's been able to work around some of those delays. So that has impacted us, but to this point, we've been pretty good. Really, for our first round of projects, most of those materials were secured before the shortages really started to hit, so we were in pretty good shape on that. Steel for the high school was we didn't have a lot of bids on that because most of the companies who could install the steel couldn't get a supplier who would guarantee them the delivery. We had a supplier who would guarantee us the delivery. There's some materials that they're not quite able to hit the deadlines on, but we have a plan for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments? Ms. Beloit.
So given that, are we anticipating any delays?
No, we're on schedule, on track for all of the projects at this time.
Thank you.
Ms. Thompson.
I don't really have a question. I believe that a lot of the things that are happening and staying on track are thanks to the Kraus Anderson team. After the presentation at our work study meeting, I'm just really impressed with their group and all that they have done to help us. And getting these bids in at the prices that they've all been coming in is just fantastic news for our district. So
Yeah, we're
really
pleased.
appreciate them.
Yeah,
I know they're not here tonight, but usually they are, so.
I think it's Mark Ulrich. Mark.
Oh, yeah.
from-
Well, thank you to your
guys from
team.
Kraus
You guys,
Anderson, so-
we really appreciate all you do for us, so.
Yeah, they're doing a
Exciting
great job.
stuff.
Other questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. This will require a roll call vote. Would ask the clerk to please read the roll.
Newmaster.
Aye.
Thompson.
Aye.
Arcand.
Aye.
Beloit. Aye. Chapman.
Aye.
Ellison. Aye. Mullen.
Aye. And the motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Wald. It is now time of our meeting for our board forum, and I would just like to start it off, and thank you to everyone for their participation in tonight's meeting. It's good to see so many community members out to come to a school board meeting and see what goes on, so we really appreciate everybody coming out and spending the time here at the meeting. With that, is there anybody else has anything else for board forum? Ms. Thompson?
I would just like to, I had the pleasure of sitting in at a PTO meeting for Willow Elementary, the first one of the year, which was pretty exciting for them to be able to do that again this year. Just to anyone listening who is in that school, if you're interested in joining them, they could use some help. They have 2 parents on their committee who've been there for 3 years, and their children are 5th graders this year, so they will be moving on after the year is over. So all of our PTA and PTOs in the elementary schools are great groups, and they do wonderful things for our students and raising money for our schools to help pay for additional needs. So highly encourage getting involved in those groups if you can. And then in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day, I am the liaison for our White Bear Lake Area Schools American Indian Parent Advisory Council, and I was going to mention the drumming ceremony, but Dr. K beat me to that, so I would just like to recognize that we are currently sitting on the ancestral homelands of the Medwakatan Dakota peoples, and just pay homage to the lands that we're on, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. Dr. Arcand?
I just wanted to take a minute to congratulate Dr. Pierre and the Sunrise Park Middle School for their grading policy. I really feel it's important when they talked about removing the F and giving it an I incomplete. What that does is anytime a student gets an F, they can say, I'm done, I'm not responsible, I can move on. And as we talk about college and career readiness, or career and college readiness, when they get that I, it says, you're not done. You need to take care of this. Just like in the real world, at a job site, I can't turn something in that's not correct, and they say, I just can't say, okay, I'm done. They give it back to me and they say, you need to make changes. And that's what we're trying to teach these students by saying that we're not giving them a free ride, and we're not, it's not about not holding them accountable, it's about holding that accountability. I congratulate them for making that choice and teaching our students to continue to move forward and work towards getting to the proficiency level. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arcand. Ms. Boyd?
Yeah, I just want to say that I had the pleasure of observing our Distance Learning Academy this week, and they have a lot on their plates. They're doing a lot of really, really good work, and I think everybody needs to really give a shout out to those teachers, and they have a lot of students in their classes right now. It went from maybe some normal class sizes to some pretty large class sizes, so I really appreciate the work that they're doing.
Thank you very much. Others? Ms. Ellison?
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to for the first time ever, I've got 2 runners living in my house, but I don't know where they got that from. It certainly wasn't from me. And I am really impressed and proud of the Girls on the Run program. If you're not familiar, it's a program for girls in grades 3 through 5, and it operates at a couple of our elementary schools, and it's not just about running and exercise, but it's also about self-esteem and self-worth. And it's really an incredible program, and I'm glad that I've got one that's participating. And then I also have a kid who's doing a middle school sport for the first time. And those coaches put in so much time and so much effort to making sure that it's a good experience for the students. And so, these are both new experiences for me as a parent, and I knew that they existed as a board member, but I've just been really great to see with my front row seat this year. So thank you to all of that work.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Sounds like there's a lot of great things going on in the district, and I appreciate everybody, especially the staff, for their work, so thank you all very much. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chair Mullen, I motion for an adjournment.
We've got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Beloit. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.